Yeah. Microphone.
Sorry, Coach. You guys have been talking about looking for that complete performance all season. You have only 7 turnovers tonight, 50, 40, 90. I mean, do you feel like this was what you were looking for in terms of that search for a complete performance? 40-minute performance?
49.3.
49.
No, I thought it was a good performance. I thought we did a good job of coming out and playing 2 complete halves. They made a run, but they're a good team, and we didn't do anything to compound that. They made higher shots over the top of us. We didn't put them to the line early. I mean, we did at the end, but if you talk about for 35 minutes, we didn't too much, and we were able to, stay down in stances and make tough shots and not turn over against their pressure. And we were still able to get, points in the paint and set ourselves up for good 3-point looks. And we didn't settle. So, I thought it was a complete game for us. And, we just have to build on it and just keep on trying to find a way to just stay as consistent as possible.
On Twitter, Ezra Stevens was asked what she did before the game
Right.
to have such a defensive impact. I mean, even on the offensive end as well. She said she watched a horror movie, but was there anything that you said to her before the game, or just is there anything that you saw out there that impressed you with her performance on both sides of the ball today?
Yeah, I thought, in the first half, she was in play. She wasn't fouling, and she was playing at the rim. She was using her length to actually cause havoc, whether it be deflections, whether it be steals, whether it be blocks. Everything was, she was hard to play against. And she was, happy and came into the halftime. And, I didn't realize that she had made a shot and wanted to play to her. And she was able to find her game and score some buckets on the offensive end. So it was a complete game all the way around. And it just goes to show how talented of a player she is when she can just turn it around offensively just like that. But defensively, it can be her calling card because she has so much length, so much speed. It just adds another dimension for us because she can defend at the rim.
And just one last quick thing. In the fourth quarter, Avina Westbrook hit a 3 and looked at you. He looked like you both shared some words. I mean, what was that moment like? And you shared that moment with us?
Yeah, I asked her if that was her spot, right? The one that she made, because I said it's off, and she made it, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm about to make another one," and she did. So she did, and she was like, "I told you that was my spot." And yeah, that was it. That's those young players, man. They done changed, but hey, it's good. It's good. It's all for the better.
How you doing, Coach? So the other night I was asking you about the bench, and tonight 27 points for the bench.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about that performance? Obviously, because Z didn't have to carry the slack for everybody tonight.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought Rebecca, was in plays, and defensively she was aggressive, and she wasn't fouling, and I thought it was good, and it got us going. And Julie, she set us up a little bit. Dana did a nice move there. I think as the time goes, she'll even be more comfortable getting in. It's tough for a young player that doesn't play for 35 minutes to get in and actually make some stuff. But Dana she's a dynamic player, so it was cool to see her score a bucket and see one go in. But our benches, they're going to be very key, and especially when we have these 4 games in 7 days. The fact that we can get Sloot a little bit more rest and Candace and Allie and all these players more rest, and so it helps, and then hopefully we'll have fresh legs for Connecticut, because we know they're going to be anxious to get to us.
And I got one more for you. When it comes to Kalia, I mean, she seems like she had it going from 3-point range. Obviously, taking it to the basket is her forte. What can you say about her performance tonight?
She's a special player. And she's a finals MVP for a reason. So we expect nothing else from her. She gives us that energy and her talent and just her motor and her engine is just amazing. So we're happy she's in the Chicago Sky uniform, because I would hate to playing against her. So no, she played a terrific game tonight, and it's just one to build on.
James, in the first half, there was that period where whether it was Azre, Candace, even Clea, Emma, it just seemed like the Mystics could not get through the length, especially trying to play over the perimeter. Just how does the length of your team affect the way that you can kind of construct your defense, and how do you think that's going to be important in the playoffs?
I mean, the length is good if you use it, and if you use it and you don't foul, and I think that's it's great, and so it's we have high IQ players that have been in like those playoff situations and have come out victorious, and even in tough games and physical games, and they've stayed disciplined. So we this is what we work on. Like, we work on it a lot to actually be disruptive and not foul and stay in plays and help each other out. So they did a good job of that tonight. I'm proud of them.
Clea, obviously, one of the things you talk about with her a lot is just that athleticism. There's just things that she can do in terms of getting up to the rim that a lot of players can't do. And I'm sure you wouldn't want her to try right now, but do you think she could dunk if she wanted to?
Did y'all see I was like, I had the best seat in the house because it was in front of our bench at Connecticut. And so she could dunk. I mean, I was like, where was the trampoline? Because it was like in the rim. And so I was like, I just turned to my coach. I was like, you see that? And they was like, yeah. And so I just made sure they saw it, and we laughed about it. But I had to stay serious in the moment. But after the game, I said again, like, man, did you see that? Yeah, she's an athlete. She's a heck of an athlete.
What's going on, Coach?
What's up? What's up, Steve?
So you guys had 7 turnovers, as James mentioned earlier. That was tied for a season low, or second season low. Was that a point of emphasis against Everactive and just one of the better defensive teams in the W tonight?
It's been a point of emphasis for a long time. It's just worked tonight, and so better late than never. Like, we're moving in the right direction. So, but we did some stuff the other day in practice. I think that really helped us, that we hadn't done this year, and hopefully, we'll go back and reflect. But that maybe was something that we can add and more and be more consistent with doing that. What we did the other day, and I thought it was really helpful for us today. And you can actually see the results of the work we did. So it was pretty cool.
And then, so we spoke earlier this season about you guys. I felt like you guys dictated a lot with your defense earlier in the season. You said the players felt it was the opposite. So now we're towards the end of the season. Do you feel like they've bought into the idea that you guys dictate with your defense first, or are they still?
I'm gonna let them think what they want to think, and I'm gonna go with it. And I'm gonna have my thoughts. And when we're disruptive, man, it's just, and we're not fouling. We're a special team. Offensively, I think we're special. So, but when we're disruptive, it makes us we have more possessions, and it makes us even better. So, I think it's a little bit of both. And actually, they actually have 49 and 49.3 and 41 and 92 on a good team like this. I think it says a lot about what we can do offensively. Some of those things were run out layups because we were disruptive. Like, we scored 23 points out of 12 turnovers. So and those were easy bucket opportunities too. So I think it's a mix of both, but we have to take pride on both ends for us to be successful. So yeah.
And then my last one for you. So today's win notched the season series win against 9 of the other 11 teams in the W.
Okay.
The last 2 is standing being Vegas and Seattle, who you guys have up on the schedule for next week.
Okay.
Would you guys put any stock in that, considering the injuries, players being out overseas, and things of that nature?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's we have yet to lose a game by more than 3 possessions. We take pride in all that. For us, if we get the season series, it just says a lot about our team, and we just we want to get better. We really focus on us. Like, we have our days where we You know, of course, you have the scouts, and you know, but if it takes too much away from us, then I don't think it's in our interest. So. It's amazing how this season has, you know, flown by. I mean, we started off 4-3, I think, and we didn't have a lot of players that were here. Like, we didn't have everybody, so we played with some players that that we didn't keep long term. Sparkle and Annalie and Tina, like, and that really helped us. Though they didn't take away from our culture or anything, and we appreciated them being here, but didn't allow us to have the chemistry early that we needed to actually get to this point. And so, to be here after starting 4-3 and you know, being first place or whatever, I think says a lot about, you know, the work that they put in and how they play for each other and how they're, you know, there for each other. So it's pretty cool.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Hey, Ka. It just feels like this team is really like this is one of the most complete performances you had this year. I know that you all have been saying you've been looking for that complete performance, and I'm just curious. Like, did it feel like tonight was that? Given the 40 minutes that you all just played.
Yeah, I think we just came out before the game. We just had a conversation just before we started, just about our sense of urgency and what we want in the season, and going into the playoffs, how we want to feel. So for us to talk about it and then really come out and be about it was important.
You're shooting 37%, like over 37% from 3-point range this year. You're getting to the line at like anytime you want. I mean, do you feel like you're playing the best basketball of your career right now, just given the consistency you've had over the last, 12, 15 games?
It feels good. Actually, I ain't hit a three in like 4 games, so today it was for me to hit two. I feel good again, but I'm just trying to do whatever I can do out there. But it definitely feels good to be playing well and be efficient too. So, and we're winning. So that's most important. It feels better when you're playing well and then you're also winning. So it's good.
Julia Poe with the Chicago Tribune. I asked James about this before the game, and you mentioned now just the fact that you guys are winning going into the playoffs. You're clinched. You're in a really great spot for the postseason. How different is it to have kind of that momentum behind you versus last season, just kind of where you were at the same time of the season?
It's tough because it could go either way. Last year we didn't feel the best going into the playoffs, and we turned it up. And then now, we're feeling good. It feels good to be confident and for the team, everything to feel like it's going right, going into the playoffs, which I feel is important. But I'm just happy that, we're feeling good, and we're playing our best basketball, and there's also so much room for improvement. So we just want to continue to get better.
There's obviously been a lot of talk about your hops, especially since that play last game against Connecticut. I was just wondering, have you tried to dunk before? I was asking James about this, if he had seen you try it before. Have you tried, and do you think you could get up there?
For sure, I could get up there, but I never tried. I just be, yeah.
And a different tone, but obviously wearing the BG hoodie, it's been a really somber 24 hours just for the entire league. Kind of, how has that been for the team, and kind of what has been the team's mentality in terms of just trying to keep the locker room together through the last 24 hours?
We just want to bring her home. It's not much to talk about. We just want her to get home to her family, to her friends, and that's all I gotta say about it.
Stephen, 2 questions, please.
What's going on, Kai? So since the All-Star break, you really turned it up in terms of like your overall play on both ends of the floor, shooting, doing everything, all the little things. How much of that would you attribute to the successes you saw overseas before you came back home? And do you kind of reflect on those moments that you had overseas and kind of apply them to the stage here back in the States?
Well, that's a pretty far gap in between that and now, but I think, just after the break, I just thought it was important for me to, bring a little more. Coming in from overseas, I had to, just slide in. I didn't want to force it. They would play a few games without me. I just wanted to just hop in and then just hop in flow. But I think now after the break, I just thought it was important for me to turn it up a little bit on both ends of the floor. And then just to be consistent, and for us to be able to feel good going into the playoffs.
Annie on Zoom. Annie Costabile on Zoom.
Hey, Kalia, how you doing?
What's up, Annie? You good? You holding up over there?
I'm good. I appreciate you very much for that. How much are you guys being pushed by the feelings and belief that you have another level to reach?
I think it feels good for us to know that we're playing well, but there's so many things that we're not doing like as well as we want. So our ceiling is literally so high. So, it feels good to always know that you have something to improve on. You have something every day to look forward to. So I think that is like something really good for us, and something for us to keep us humble.
And you guys often talk about on any given night, it's any player's game. Tonight we saw just a complete dominant performance from Azure. Can you just speak to what impressed you most about what she put out there tonight?
Z is like tough. Like we won't even need to talk about the offense. Let's talk about the defense. You know, I think they got her down for 5 blocks, but she really had 6. And I think that that's so important for us down the stretch, you know, being that rim protector. And I think that she was amazing. You know, I think offensively, she's going to give us something all the time. I think we definitely got to talk about our defense. And that was big time for us today.
Thanks, Kat.
Google questions for Courtney. We'll start with James in the front.
Hey, Courtney. When I asked James about this, like you all searching for a complete performance, for, you know, that you've all been saying that throughout this season, searching for that 40-minute game. I brought up like the low turnovers and you all shooting 50, 40, 90, and he stopped short and said actually you shot 49.3%. This team just feel like when you all talk about searching for that next level, I mean, when you have a game like this, I mean, what does that look like? I have a hard time imagining this being better than it is now.
Well, I mean, they beat us 28-16 in the fourth quarter. Not to put a damper on it, but that I think a complete game doesn't have a fourth quarter that looks like that. You know, we have a pretty good lead and we let them come back. But yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, that's similar to what it looks like. You know, I think everybody did well. Things were flowing. Things were moving well on offense and defense, of course. I think we made things hard for them. But yeah, I mean, other than that fourth quarter, I think this comes pretty close.
When you all are shooting the ball like this, I mean, do you feel that it just completely opens up the offense in a way that it's just really tough for even one of the best defensive teams like the Mystics today? I mean, that it's hard to stop when you are able to space the floor like this.
Yeah, you know, when Allie's aggressive, I think it opens up a lot. You know, her just being on the floor creates a lot of space for us. It creates a lot of space for Ka to be able to get downhill, and she's knocking down threes too. I mean, it's just we're hard to guard when those two play like they did. That makes it really hard.
Any more questions for Stephen?
Hey, Courtney.
Hi. I'm still eating that from like a week ago, like games. Sorry. Hi.
So we talked about the 7 turnovers that you guys had. That ties for a second lowest mark in the season. So how does it feel to have that mark as well as just the all-around performance you guys had on offense against this team, which is kind of noted as one of the better, if not the quote-unquote best team in the W defensively?
Yeah, that's huge for us. I mean, those are one of the things that we talked about, you know, tightening up going into these next 5 or games or whatever it was to before playoffs. You know, there was a couple things that we wanted to really sharpen up on, and turnovers was one of them. So to take care of the ball like we did against, you know, a really top team defensively, it's huge for us. You know, I think rebounding in the ball too, you know, they had 8 offensive rebounds, but I think a couple of them were on blocks from Z, so that makes it, you know, we don't know if we count those, but those are a few of the things that are huge for us to be able to, you know, moving forward and getting into the playoffs. But even before that, we have a really tough schedule to finish. We play, you know, all the top teams, and you know, we're still playing for something, so that's big time and important.
And then we always talk about just the media and players in general. Always talk about how Ka's paint touches and all of her rim assaults kind of open up the offense. But I also notice the more I see you guys play, that when you are also able to generate paint touches before and after Ka, that's when you guys really generate flow, and that's what you've been doing the last few weeks. How does it feel just like to have a game like that specifically today, and just how like you guys are just flowing from sideline to sideline, moving the ball and everything?
Yeah, I think those are important. You know, we talk about Ka and I being aggressive early. That gets our team going, getting into the paint and opening things up. You know, when it's for any team, if you're getting into the paint consistently, it's difficult. You're gonna have a long night. And we have so many weapons, and so that's our mindset going into it, is just being aggressive. You know, Ka's elite at that. Her finishing ability is just second to none, in my opinion. And so she really gets us going. And then when you have Allie knocking down shots, those spaces and things become a lot bigger for us. So, this is something that why we had success like we did in the playoffs last year. And so we're going to continue to build off that. And, hopefully that's continues throughout the rest of the season.
We'll go to Mike Hughes on Zoom and then Annie. Mike Hughes, please unmute.
Hey, Courtney.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulty.
Hey, Courtney. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, Courtney. So my question for you, obviously, the bigger picture is always winning another championship, but being a part of such a special team this year, and you've been a part of so many throughout the years with the Sky, can you kind of just talk about what playing for this team specifically this year has meant to you? There's been so many accolades, whether that be player, personal, or just throughout the organization's history. Can you just kind of tie it all in together?
Yeah, I think that, with this roster, obviously, I think everybody talks about how deep we are and how good we are on the court. But I think what makes us really special is just our willingness to sacrifice for one another. Everybody, kind of gives up a little bit for the next guy because we have so many weapons. We have players on the bench that probably could be getting more minutes, but it's always team first. And that's not always the case. I mean, everyone talks about chemistry and you can preach sacrifice, but it's really rare and it's really hard to find. And we have that at this group. So it makes it really special to play together. Obviously, we have a lot of great players too, and it's just that perfect combination of great people and great players.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, welcome. Mike. We'll go to Annie last. Annie?
Hey, Courtney. Last year at this point in the season, you guys talked a lot about being motivated by the fact you guys hadn't played like the team you all knew you could be. And right now, we're hearing this message of you guys talking about a ton that you still feel you have left to improve on, and that being a motivating factor. So I'm wondering how that motivation is similar or different, or how you would describe, those two motivations.
First, Annie, I hope you're feeling okay. I heard you have COVID.
Thank you,
so get better soon. We miss you in here.
Thanks, Lou.
Yeah, but I think the motivation is a little bit different just because, we do feel like we have another, I guess we can do better, and we haven't really put it all together yet, but, we've been able to win games, and, so that's huge for us, and our confidence level is really high. I think it was a little bit different last year. We felt like maybe our backs were against the wall, and this year, not that the motivation is any different. We obviously want to win, but we have the confidence that we have the group to do it. We know what it takes. But that doesn't stop us from being hungry and going after it, getting better, trying to improve. We know that we're not perfect, and every team's going to be coming for us just like we're coming for them. So, the motivation is different, but it's definitely still there. But we do believe that we have a really good group and the group to do it.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
Thanks, players. Thanks, everyone, for joining.